Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. We are less than a month away from spring camp. I'm excited. So many interesting storylines to watch. Of course, yesterday, Tennessee got their guy at running backs coach, Darrell Sims. They also added William Inge. You got to be excited anytime you go and steal a coach from Alabama. You want more information on the coaching hires? Dropped a video on Darrell Sims yesterday. We did a full live stream fan call-in show last night at 9 o'clock. Had a great time talking about both of these coaches with Coach Jay, Coach Rice. Also opened it up for some of you guys to come on and talk about those hires. So you want more information on that, go back and give it a watch. But it's that time of year where there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of talk about over-under on win totals, right? And I heard J.D. Pickell talking a week ago, and the number's at 8.5. Is Tennessee going to win more than 8.5 games or less? Where are you guys at on that? You can put it in the comments below. But one of the interesting things that J.D. said in that video, returning production for Tennessee. You would think that this is something that's important, right? You want to return a lot of your starters, a lot of the guys that produced for your football team. Ideally, Tennessee finished 94th. They came in ranked 94th in the country with returning production. Now, is that a negative thing? You would think so, but when I look at what Tennessee did a year ago, let's go back to 2022, right? All the hoopla, beating Florida at home, beating Alabama at home, number one scoring offense in the country, putting up over 46 points per game. And then we look at 2023. How far they fell on the offensive side of the ball. Now, defensively, you went from 90th in the country in year one, scoring defense. You went to 36th in year two, top 25 scoring defense in 2023 for Tim Banks. So when I look at returning production, I'm going to focus on the offensive side of the ball because that scoring offense went from first in the country to 37th. And I think we've got an opportunity to improve that, right? Last year, all the talk about quarterback production. Was it Joe Milton? Is that why the offense fell off? Do you believe that Nico is going to take this offense to the next level? Some people want to talk about wide receivers, their lack of production, their lack of ability to create separation, get open down the field. We're going to take a look at some interesting numbers. We're going to hear what J.D. Pickell had to say. But as always, guys, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up. Just down below this video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel, and I would appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts, we're not insiders, we're not media. We don't talk at you, we talk with you. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Let's jump right into it. Let's hear what J.D. Pickell had to say. Over-under at 8.5. Let's take a listen.
Last one I want to get to here, Tennessee. Over-under 8.5 wins. A lot of 8.5s here for the good folks in Las Vegas. Very interesting path to over 8.5 wins. They have a dense schedule, not overly brutal. They have Bama. They're at Georgia, which are obviously going to be very difficult tasks in themselves.
Again, you look at the schedule for me. I've said it multiple times as we speculate heading into the spring. I think you're going to start off 3-0. Chattanooga, NC State, Kent State, those are wins, and that gives Nico an opportunity to grow, right? He's had a year to sit under the learning tree. We got a little glimpse of who he could be in that bowl game, but I think you're going to have a full offseason of preparation, Nico knowing he's the guy, and you got 3 games to get tuned up, dialed up, ready to go when you go out there on the road to play Oklahoma. That's where the season hinges for me, and they're talking about 8.5. I'm at 9.5. I'm trying to figure out if I think this football team is going to go out and win 9 games or if they're going to win 10 games. And I think if you go out on the road, you beat Oklahoma in that 4th game of the year, then you're coming out of the first half at 6-0, and you may be scratching your head saying, Boogie, do you not see the Gators there on the schedule? I'm not worried about Florida. And I know we say that all the time, and Florida is Florida, and we struggle, and it's tough, but I don't care. It's time to turn the tide on some of these rivalries, and I think now is the time for the Gators. I think Tennessee's got a better football team. I think it sets up nicely that they're coming to Neyland Stadium, and the same can be said for Alabama. I think Tennessee has a very legitimate shot to go beat Alabama in Neyland Stadium for the 2nd time in 3 years. I think Tennessee, I like the matchup. So where are you guys at as you look at the schedule? Some of you guys are going to say 11 wins. Some of you guys are going to say, Boogie, we're going 12-0. Feels like 98. We're going to get Ron the Don in here singing about feels like 98. Let's hear more from J.D. Pickell as he looks at the schedule, talks about the over-under at 8.5, and this is where he brings up returning production.
No LSU, no Ole Miss. They play Florida, but they play them in Knoxville, and Florida just has been a little bit of a tricky task for the Vols over the course of the last couple of seasons.
They are a tricky task, but why is that? Why are they such a tricky task? It's time to put that to bed. It is time to put it to bed.
94th in returning production is Tennessee. So you see their schedule. You say, okay, I guess I see a path there. Then you see how much they don't bring back. new quarterback in Nico Iamaleava. This number to me tells me two things about how Vegas perceives Tennessee. The first, they feel like with what Tennessee has on that roster, this schedule is manageable. That's how they feel about it. The second, though, they are accounting for Nico being that dude. That's the only way that I look at this thing. I think they believe that Nico Iamaleava could end up being that guy that propels Tennessee to over 8.5 wins.
Is that what it is? Is it Nico? Is that the whole reason? I know that's a big chunk of the reason why I believe that Tennessee is going to go out and win 9 or 10 football games is because you look, again, from 2022 to 2023. If we're talking about 2022 and 94th in returning production off of a football team that was number 1 in the country in scoring offense, maybe I've got concerns. But it's like the defense. It's like the secondary. When everybody was entering the transfer portal, everybody's freaking out, panicking. We're not going to have anybody on the back end. Well, that was a secondary that you guys said for an entire year sucked. So it's out with the old and it's in with the new. And I think not only does this defense have an opportunity to upgrade, I think this offense has an opportunity to upgrade, and it starts with the quarterback position. And a lot of people want to talk about wide receivers, and we'll do that here in just a second. But you look at quarterback production from 2022 to 2023. Hendon Hooker threw for 3,100 yards. Joe Milton for 2,800. Completion percentage, 69.6% for Hendo Cinco, 64.7% for Joe Milton. Statistically, he looks pretty good. Average yards per attempt, 9.5 for Hendon Hooker. Joe Milton, 7.9. Hendon Hooker had 27 touchdowns to Joe's 20, 2 interceptions to Joe's 5. And I think what you look at here is the inability for Joe Milton to take shots down the field. Rushing the football, I think Tennessee's going to be just fine. They led the SEC in rushing yards per game. Obviously, 2022, you were led by Jalen Wright and Jabari Small. 2023 by Jalen Wright and Dylan Sampson. And I think it's time for Dylan Sampson to shine. You know, we talked about Jalen Wright going into 2023, and I felt like he was going to get a 1,000-yard season. Now it is Dylan Sampson's turn. I see Dylan Sampson getting that 1,000-yard season. The question is, can Cam Seldon take that next step? We're talking about a guy that was a true freshman last year. Somebody in the comment section yesterday said Cam Seldon's not that guy. He's not good enough. Well, he was a true freshman. Let's be patient. And let's see if Darrell Sims can develop Cam Seldon and get a little bit more out of him. But I think Tennessee didn't really take those shots down the field, right? You go back and look at 2022. Jalen Hyatt led the team in receptions with 67. Well, guess what? You look at Tennessee in 2023. Squirrel White also had 67 receptions. The difference was Jalen Hyatt, they took those deep shots. He averaged 18.9 yards per reception. You move ahead to 2023, where Squirrel White also had 67 receptions. He only averaged 12 yards per reception. So can they find that guy? Can they find that guy that's a deep threat? And when you flip over and talk about wide receivers and their returning production, look back, to a year ago, Brew McCoy went down in the 5th game. How much of an issue did that cause? You had Chaz Nimrod, Caleb Webb trying to step up and fill those shoes. You kept waiting on Dante Thornton to break out. He had 2 catches the entire season going into that Kentucky game. In the Kentucky game, 3 catches for 63 yards. The following week against Connecticut, he had 2 catches for 26 yards. And then the following week against Missouri, that's when he had the 46-yard touchdown reception and went down with the injury, and he was out for the rest of the year. So was Dante Thornton really starting to shine, or did we just kind of see, we saw a 46-yard touchdown, we got excited, we saw 3 catches? I think he was starting to progress as he moved to the outside. Ramel Keaton was never that guy. I'm sorry, call a spade a spade. Ramel Keaton did not deliver in 2023. So when you look at returning wide receivers, you got Brew McCoy, you've got Squirrel White. Who's going to be that third wide receiver on the outside? Spring is going to be a big competition at that wide receiver position. It's going to be Brew McCoy, Squirrel White, and who? Chaz Nimrod? Is it going to be Caleb Webb? Is it going to be Dante Thornton? Is it going to be Chris Brazzell? I played this clip. I think it was in a live stream earlier. I'm going to play it again. This is McElroy and Kubelik talking about Chris Brazzell. Let's take a listen.
Tulane wide receiver Chris Brazzell, 6'5", 195 pounds. He's going to be transferring to Tennessee. I think any wide receiver would want to be involved in that offense with the opportunities that you're going to be given and provided. 44 catches, 711 yards last year, 5 receiving touchdowns. G-Mac took a look at him yesterday and quite honestly was blown away with what I saw. To see that he was 6'5", first off, he doesn't look it on film. I mean, he looks long, but a lot of times you get the bigger wide receivers. They don't move laterally very well. They're not really smooth in and out of their breaks. They look a little bit stiff, kind of like an undersized tight end. Brazzell doesn't look like that at all. He's extremely smooth, very loose, very athletic. He looked like he run crisp routes. Game against South Alabama, a little whip route where he loses the DB and gets open. So I think Tennessee may have hit a home run here with Chris Brazzell, the wide receiver from Tulane, just with the size and athletic ability that he's going to bring into that offense.
Thinks Tennessee hit a home run. Now, some of you may say, yeah, well, we thought that about Dante Thornton too. Look at the difference, though. When Dante Thornton transferred in, he had 17 catches, 366 yards, and a touchdown. Not a whole lot of production. The difference is Chris Brazzell has had that production, 44 catches at Tulane. And yes, I understand it's Tulane. Is he ready to transition that to the next level in the SEC? 711 yards and 5 touchdowns. And what I like about his touchdowns is every route concept is different. He scores in different ways, whether it's deep shots, 50-50 balls, little routes on the outside. I like his game. But we're going to have a big-time competition. Does that lead to somebody transferring out after the spring? I think so. I think you're definitely going to lose a wide receiver. One of those 4 guys I mentioned between Nimrod, Webb, Thornton, and Brazzell. I think Brazzell locks down the position, and then one of those guys is going to transfer out. But we will see. But what do you guys think? The point of the video, over under 8.5. You taking the over, or are you taking the under? But also the kind of misleading stat to me, returning production, 94th in the country. I don't put too much stock in that. You're returning your entire offensive line. Your wide receiver core I just mentioned. Obviously, Nico is him. The running back room I think is going to be just fine. Yes, you lost both of your starting tight ends, but Ethan Davis, how much does he develop? Is he ready to go and kind of take over one of those starting roles? And then you added Holden Stace, the number 1 ranked tight end in the transfer portal. So we will see what this offense looks like. I'm excited about this spring. What storylines are you excited about this spring? Drop them in the comment section. As always, smash the thumbs up. On the way out the door, go check out the merchandise, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is also in the description below. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.